Do you suffer with your mental health? Do you have good days? And just also you have bad days. Days you don't really even know why you don't feel okay, but you just don't feel right. And you have a struggling day. Are there days you find it hard to get out of bed? Or maybe you feel good most of the time. But would you feel it would be a correct statement to say that you suffer from mental health, just like everybody does? Welcome to the Mind Body Health podcast. And on this particular episode, I want to address a really important topic, something I've been vocal about recently. And for this short little episode, because I want to keep it brief and to the point as much as I can, I want to get an important point across. And it's all around the mental health. That's why I ask those questions. In terms of mental health, do you suffer from your mental health? Do you have good days? Do you have bad days? Because you know what the reality is? We all suffer from mental health. Now, I need to speak about something first before I'll go back to that. The problem is that society and governments largely in general have created this impression that mental health is literally a small section of society. Mental health are people who are really, really suffering, who are suicidal, attempting suicide, and also the people who are mental, mad, whatever you want to call it, who need the straitjackets, who need to be in hospital care. When the reality is, that's just one element of mental health. That's one element. That's one experience of mental health. There are many different forms of mental health. If you're having just a bad day, what would you call that then? Are you feeling great? Are you emotionally in a good state? Is your energy good? You go around smiling even though you're not feeling good? No, you're suffering. You're having a bad day. Your emotional state is low. Your energy is low. Your mood's low. Your productivity is low. You're not exactly nice to be around. And most people have days like this. Everyone has days like this. Sometimes, some very frequently, some not that frequently. But the important thing is everyone has good days, everyone has bad days. The other situation, again, when a loved one passes, what is that? Is that not mental health? Is it not tied into your mental health? Or a loved one, like a child, leaves the nest. Like recently for myself, my son, who's my absolute world, left and moved to Canada. For that day, that was a horrific day for me, heartbreaking day for me. Was that my mental health? The days after, the days since. I'll have good days and bad days. Some days I'm feeling great. Other days I'm a bit reflective on the fact he's not with me anymore. Is that not mental health? If we miss a day's exercise or a few days exercise or a week or a few months, our physical health suffers. Our muscle mass will be impacted, our bone density will be impacted, our fitness levels will be impacted, our heart function will be impacted, our lung function will be impacted, our mood, our energy, brain function, everything's impacted. So that's our physical health suffering by having a few bad days, even just a few bad days, and to mind a few bad weeks or months and so on. So why aren't we looking at mental health in the same way? If you're having a bad day, that's mental health. If you're missing somebody, mental health. If you're grieving, mental health. It's not all about just trauma. No, everyone's got trauma in their life. Everybody. It's just varying degrees. It's all relative. We all react differently to it. From the moment of conception, you're being influenced subconsciously by everything in your background, everything in your environment. That includes noises, that includes people, that includes conversations, that includes experiences, that includes everything. Everyone's been in your life from conception to now has had an impact on you. We all need to be constantly working on our mental health, just as much as we need to be working on our physical health. But our mental health is really important because working on that has an impact on your physical health because it helps you to adhere to it more and be more consistent with it. So, my important message with this is we need to stop stigmatizing mental health as if it's for certain people who are really on the verge of killing themselves, suicidal, or absolutely crackers, let's say, and they need to be put into a ward with 24/7 care. That is a mental health. That's an element of it. You have mental health issues. Time to time are ongoing. I have mental health issues. Time to time are ongoing. This is why I always stress to people about working on your mindset all the time, because your mind is a control tower. And it's so important to feed yourself positivity into your mind. Feed yourself what's good for your mind. Like take over the years, especially recent years, where there's been some crazy stuff going on and there's been a lot of fear mongering around the media and so on. Was that not mental health? Did people not suffer in terrible, terrible mental health along that time? How about if someone is waiting on a diagnosis and they're being told it could be X, Y, Z, and they're fearing it might be, and even the people around them are telling them, God, hope it's not that. There's fear being created. Is not that not again mental health? Mental health is something everyone experiences. Mental health is something everybody suffers from, again, in varying degrees. So what I urge you to do is be aware of that, accept that reality, like again, physical health, treat it the same. It's something you need to be working on. You know, like I always say, be committed to evolving to better version yourself throughout your life. That includes in every way. Work on your mind. Keep improving it, keep strengthening it, keep creating more positivity, keep creating an environment where you predominantly focus on the positive thoughts you get versus the negative, because negative and positive thoughts 24/7, well, except when you're asleep, I suppose, but your dreams will be showing it. But you constantly have thousands of thoughts every day, which you focus on. That'll impact your mental health. You know, everything we do is impacting it. Our decisions, our actions, our behaviors, the people around us, everything impacts us. Do a regular audit of your circle. Important for your mental health. You may have people in your life who drain you, people in your life who bring nothing but negativity, people who put you down. You need to get rid of them, eliminate or at least limit exposure. That's an important act for your mental health. But be committed to evolving the better version of yourself every single day. And as I said, that includes work on your mental health, includes work on your physical health, work on your general health, and then working on your goals and dreams. But the most important thing, as I stress, mental health is something we all need to focus on. Our own mental health is something we all need to focus on. Not just, like I said, suicidal or crazy people. I hope that makes sense. It's an important message, and it's important also that we create safe spaces. This is why I'm putting this message out there a lot, in terms of to try and make it a general narrative versus it's a narrative of it's crazy or suicidal. We need to make it normal, so then people feel more willing to speak about things. People see it as normal to have a bad day, because it's okay to have a bad day. We all have them. No one goes through life without having a bad day. Everybody has a bad day. So we need to create a new narrative where it's a case of that mental health is a normal thing, just like again our physical health, and something we need to put time into. If you don't put time into your physical health, there's repercussions. If you don't put time into your mental health, there's repercussions. And just as much as physical health is important for in the moment, the short term and the long term, the same is true of mental health. In the moment, the short term and the long term. We never know what's around the corner. We need to build up mental resilience to be able to deal with things so they don't completely cripple us and take us down. That doesn't mean we won't be sad, upset, frustrated, all the negative emotions when something challenging happens that affects our mental health. But if we build up resilience, then we can cope with it better. This is why we need to speak about it more. This is why we need to create more safe spaces so people are actually actively working on their mental health. And your physical health will improve your mental health too. So that ties into it too. But it's very important that you're conscious of who you surround yourself with and what you consume, what you watch, what you read, what you listen. All that has a huge impact on your mental health. Remember, your mind is a control tower. Okay, so my key message from this is work on your mind, work on your mindset, accept that mental health is something you need to focus on every single day, just like physical health and everything else. And let's start speaking about mental health more as if it's something that's suffered by everybody or experienced by everybody or needs to be focused on by everybody, because that's the fact. That's the fact. Now, you may have opinions on this. You may have thoughts on it. You may have opinions or thoughts on what I've said. Share them in the comments. If anything you don't want to share publicly, message me. This is a conversation we need to have, and I really encourage you to engage in this conversation through this episode by placing comments or messaging me. And also, please share this message out with anyone who needs to hear it, which I'm sure there is many that you know of. I hope this has been a helpful episode. I hope my point has been clear, and I hope you will help me and everybody who's involved in talk about mental health to make this a normal conversation, acceptable conversation, and not one is just for a small section of society with a certain narrative that means that most people think they don't need to work on it and they're not even aware of their need for it. Hope that's been helpful. Do let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please share this episode out there and make sure you subscribe and follow, because every follow, every subscribe all helps. Every share, every like, every comment. It all helps. It shows that it's an episode that is adding value, and the algorithms will give it more. So please help us get the episode out there. Take care. Have a good one. Look forward to hearing your comments.